Welcome back to the interview with Kim Hiorth from Norway. Retired police officer, but still very active. And we are recording here on behalf of the IPA, International Police Association, #She'sIPA, together with PolicingTV. PolicingTV is providing this possibility, and our first person to speak with in this interview is Kim Hiorth. Kim, earlier today when we spoke with you mentioned about your work with migrant women in Oslo. Would you please share us a little bit more around this, because it's so interesting what you've done as the first ever person in the world, please?
Yes, thank you. I'll do that. Like I told you, my bosses gave me permission to do this work. So in Norway, all the denominations, they get paid for each members. So I went and saw where are all the mosques, where are all the NGOs for the Muslims, because I wanted to speak to those who had segregations between the gender, yeah. So I went and I knocked on all the mosques. Some of the mosques you see, they are big and you can see it's a mosque, but most of them are apartments in like a tall building, and you go from floor to floor and you knock on the doors and you can see this little sign there, mosque, masjid in Arabic. So I knocked on doors. It was always a man who opened the door and I said, "Hi, my name is Kim. I'm a police officer. Do you have any women's group?" And in the beginning, they just looked at me and I said no, and I slammed the door. It was always a man who opened the door and always a man who slammed the door in my face in the beginning. So I kept on walking from mosque to mosque, and I met the same kind of not very friendly invite. So some of my colleagues, they said, "You know what, you can just quit. Nobody's going to listen to you, because you're blonde and you're Norwegian. Nobody will invite you in." But I'm like that. There is nothing that is impossible before you tried it. And so when people say you can't do it, like from when I was little, I was like that. I will prove that I will try to do it, So after like 4 months, I went back to the first mosque that I knocked on the door to. Suddenly the door opened, and this guy with a long beard and this praying hat on top, he opened the door and he said, "Hi, we've been waiting for you. The women are in the women's room." And I was like, he's really opening up. So I went in there, took my shoes off, like you do in a mosque, and I went into the women's room. There were 80 women sitting on the floor there, and they were all looking at me and asking questions. "Who are you?" And I told everybody is more than what you just see. I'm a police, but I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm so much more than that. And they gave me like tea and soup, and we were just women sitting on the floor, and there was so much more that connected us than divided us. And after a while, they got to know me, and I was starting to build trust with them, and I can understand why they weren't that friendly and to open up and let me in, because you shouldn't go far outside Europe before the police are not anybody don't want to trust the police, because they use violence, they are corrupt and stuff like that. So it took time to build trust. It was not an overnight miracle. And I say that you build trust in centimeters and you tear it down in meters. So when I had that trust, I had to take care of it. And the women starting to tell me their stories, how it was to live with abusive husbands, husbands who raped them, and husbands who was the totally boss. They didn't have their own bank card and things like that. So I starting to help them. We had to write reports, and a lot of the women and the kids had to move on secure addresses because their husbands were put to jail. So I had to have my address too hidden, because I wasn't very popular among all the men. But a lot of the people got a very good, much better life, and the kids got a better life, and the work still goes on. And I did it for 12 years. And it just expanded because all the mosques opened up for me then, and all the NGOs. And then We have schools in Norway that teach foreigners. I was asked to teach there too. So the work just expanded, and then globally, as you said too.
That is what is so exciting about you and fascinating, Kim, because you are so willing to share what you've done and how you did it, and you also taught other people your experience and also a kind of method that is actually looked at when you think about how to protect people from crime and how to help people forward. It's you made them to feel connected to the society through your profession, but also that you shared your private life with them. And you once told me a story when we met about young girls that you took on the camp, and I think this could be a little way of showing our audience today how difficult it can be for someone, even though they live in Norway, if they can't do everything.
Yeah, I'll be happy to share that, because like I told you, after a while, the women starting to trust me, and the police everywhere in the world, they need trust for the community they serve. If you don't have that trust, you fail. I will say it like that. So the mothers, they came to me and they said, our daughters have never been to like school camps or on trips and slept over with the school like they do in schools. And they said, but we trust you. Can you take our girls, on a weekend trip somewhere so they can experience how that is? I said, yes. And then I invited another younger police woman with me. And I had to have this like parents meeting in the mosque with the mothers. And they told me that you have to make sure that they pray 5 times a day. You have to make sure that they don't meet any boys and stuff like that. And I said, I can't make them pray 5 times a day. I won't do that, but they can do it, and they have the possibility to do that if they want to, and the camp is like far in the woods, so I don't think they're going to meet a lot of people. Anyway, though, we went and we filled up the first bus with 70 girls, and they were so excited. This was girls from 14 till 23, actually. Actually, I wanted to put it like 14 to 18, but the mother said, but I have a daughter. She's 23. She's not married and she's living at home. She needs this too. So I said, okay, take everybody then. So we filled one bus and then we did another one the next weekend, so everybody could go. So we came there and it was like a camp. It used to be like an army camp. And these guys that ran it, they had like kickoffs for companies and did different things though. And we slept like in bunk beds and stuff. And the girls, they had the time of their life, and they were like jumping in the bunk beds all night, and they said, we were so scared that you were going to come and yell at us, because I didn't have earplugs either. So I listened to them, but I thought they have fun. And in the daytime, they were divided into groups. They did fun things. And then in the evening, we had the pizza and stuff. And they said, are any men coming now? I said, no, it's just us. So then they took their hijabs off. Not everybody had that, but they did, and they were dancing, and they taught me how to dance. I'm not a very good dancer, but I don't care. I just danced, and then they're starting to tell me the stories, how hard it was to grow up with one leg, sort of in one culture, and they have like their family. They wants them to do things, and the bigger family abroad, they sort of demands them to marry the ones that they have chosen and stuff like that. And they said it's so hard, and so then later, I gave them the best advice I had. And I said, this is a democracy. You are born here. Most of them were. And there are equal rights for everybody. This is your rights in Norway. So I just told them all that, get an education, and be able to support yourself. And if you want to have a family. And I said, in Norway, you can marry if you want to, and you can choose your partner, or you can don't marry. It's up to you. So then later I had like meeting with the moms in the mosque. Some of the dads came too. And I told them that you chose to live here, and you have to make it easier for your kids if you want them to succeed. So we had good conversations about that, how to dress, because some of them wanted them to dress in religious clothes, and nobody is doing that in the schools here. So they felt like they were picked on everywhere. So after a while, most of them got a better life, though. Not everybody, but most of them. So, and they still have contact with me. Some of the girls, one of the girls, she said, "Can you help me with schoolwork?" And I'm very like quick to say yes, but I did it for 3 years with her because her parents couldn't speak Norwegian. But today she's a dentist, so it helps, though.
Yeah. Well, I think you open the doors to all the possibilities that is out there in Norway and also out in the world for every woman and every young girl that would like to do something else than only be controlled by their parents normally. That we can see quite a lot of in Scandinavia. Well, this is something you did through your profession as police officer, Kim. But would it be possible for someone else or other people to work with minority groups the way you have done as police officer?
Sorry. Yes, of course, you don't have to be a police, I mean, to do this kind of work. I think everybody can do this kind of work. To be kind to somebody, you have to see the people around you. That's what it's about. A lot of people, they don't want to be, if they see people have trouble, they just walk on. They don't want to have any trouble themselves, but I think some people need that person to see them and help them. And it doesn't have to be like a full day of work, just to be kind to people and say, "Can I help you with something?" Everybody can do this, and you can start to see your neighbor or people where you live or at work. Sometimes people need that one that see them, that one person.
Lovely. So we all got a kind of possibility, whoever we are out there in the society. And also this is, I think, something that's important for many countries around the world where people are moving in with a background and a culture that is not really the same as where they moved to.